Hello everyone, Ben here, and we've got 15 minutes of ranked racing on RaceRoom at Zolder in the World Touring Cars for you today. We're in the DHL liveried Seat Cupra again, and once again, despite qualifying well in 5th, we've made a poor start and we're losing positions off the line. Now, it's a really tricky first couple of corners here, lots of different lines through, so now we're getting swamped from all sides. We're just trying to kind of tiptoe our way through safely and possibly try and regain some of those positions we've lost off the line. We take a slightly wider line and then tuck back in here as we come round the second right-hander, and we're now just trying to kind of get into the slipstream because we've got a pretty decent straightaway coming as we round this next right-hand corner down into the chicane. We're now going to chuck to the left-hand side, but then we see there's an Audi rejoining the track, having had a little bit of an incident in the previous corner. We're able to sneak past them. We're not going to get the inside line down into the chicane for the first time. We take that quite safely, but we get a better exit. So we're now approaching on the outside of the car ahead. We know we've got the left-hander here, and then we're going to be down into the heavy braking of a chicane again. And look at that, he comes just slightly across our line, and we do make contact. That was a pretty scary moment. I wasn't that impressed in the cockpit, I've got to say, because it didn't feel like I deviated from my line too much, and yet in the braking zone the car ahead did move around quite a bit. We see it here on replay, and actually it doesn't look quite so bad as it felt in the cockpit, so perhaps that one we can put down to a racing incident. Unfortunate that he ended up losing so much time going off into the gravel. We've fast forwarded now a couple of laps because that's how long it took us to then reconnect with the car in 7th place. So from having started in 5th, we've dropped down to 8th, but we have now made our way onto the back of 7th place, and we're gaining time at quite a rapid rate here. He's slightly wide into that first corner. He takes a defensive line into the second corner, and now we've very much got a good run on him. The Audi behind us has kept pace, so it is very much a three-way battle here for 7th place. We try and just do a little bit of a cutback into that right-hander, but we're not really able to make too much work there. We're now into the slipstream, coming down into the chicane. We have a little look, we just stick our nose out, just trying to put on a little bit of pressure really, rather than make any sort of move, but we're not really able to frighten him into a mistake. We're now coming down the hill into the left-hander for this second chicane, and this is always a really tricky corner, tricky braking, and look at that, he's got that slightly wrong, and we're almost pushing him out of the corner now, as we're really now sensing an opportunity to get past. We're losing time here all the while that we're behind this guy. We're not running at our race pace, so we're now going to try and make a move. He moves again in the braking zone, and to be honest with you, I think that one's slightly worse. Really not very safe behaviour at all from the guy ahead. We were just about able to avoid him. It meant that we got our braking very, very late indeed, but in the end we were able to make the move, and there wasn't any significant contact, but that could have been a really big accident as he wiggled around in the braking zone. It's not something you should do really, but because we were able to get away with it, we're now into 7th place, and already we've dropped him by a good half a second. So I'm looking ahead now, and we've got a 6-second gap to 6th place. And the next few laps are all just about trying to close that gap down. So you can see one lap on, we've managed to make a second back, so we're now 5 seconds away. We fast forward another lap, we've taken another second out of the two cars up ahead, so we're lapping well, we're lapping consistently, and this is giving me some encouragement that actually we can get onto the back of these guys before the end of the race. One more lap, and we've got it now, the gap down to 2.5 seconds, and we can really see that the fact that they're perhaps jousting for position is helping us out. So now we've got one more lap on, and although the gap hasn't come down, you can see that the fight now is really starting to get interesting, because a third car is now getting involved up ahead. So we're going to kind of stick with this now, because we've only got a couple of minutes left in this race, but we've put in the hard yards in the laps earlier, being really clean, really consistent, and that's now given us an outside chance of potentially fighting for 4th place. So now what we've got to do is just hope that these guys scrapping up ahead, slow each other down, allow us the chance to get back into into a fighting position with them, and hopefully then we'll be able to pick our way through, because ultimately I do think we are quicker. So you can see here they're running side by side. We gain a huge amount of time through the first chicane. As we now come downhill into the left-hander, they're going to go side by side into the second chicane, and they're really costing each other a lot of time now. We get a really good line through there, so we've got a great exit, and look at that, we're right on the back of this group now. So I'm at this point thinking, okay, we're going to have the rest of this lap plus one more to try and make up a few more positions. The guy on the right hand side gets his braking all wrong. Now I think he's got a puncture, and he's tried to keep going to the end of the race because he'd lost so much time in the previous laps, and you can just tell there as he gets under braking, he's not able to slow the car down or turn it in, and so that's why I think he made such a mess of that corner. So one of those places we've gained. We're now on the back of the two cars up ahead, going into the last lap of the race. How much progress can we make? Well, I really think if we're gonna get into fourth, I've got to make this move stick here into the first corner. So we make a move to the left hand side. He's on our outside, he's sticking it, but then basically runs out of road and he can't hang it around the outside any longer. So really happy with that move. We're now up into fifth, and I think we've got the better tyre life here of the three drivers, because we're able to push the car, it seems, a lot more than these guys are able to, or perhaps their tyres aren't up to temperature, because we're the ones with the momentum here. We're onto the back straight, heading into the first chicane. Again, we're not close enough here to make a move, but again, just trying to kind of roll the car in, gain some time through that through the chicane. We're within a second of the car ahead, so any kind of mistake at all that he makes, we're going to be right there to pounce on it. Into the second chicane now. He locks up slightly. We get into the right and into the left, and then we're trying to get onto the power as early as we can here through the right-hander. We've gained another couple of tenths through that section of corners as well. We get a good exit here, and all the while we're just slowly but surely gaining. It doesn't look like we're going to be close enough into the hairpin, but we're going to try and brake as late as we can, just trying to spook him into a bit of a mistake. We do get a better line through there, so we're going to be that much closer again. Within half a second now, coming into the final set of corners, are we able to kind of make a move into this last corner? I think it's going to rely on him making a bit of a mistake. We get as late on the braking as we can. He runs a bit deep, so we do get a better run through here, and we're going to really be putting the pressure on here as we come across the line. We're right on his bumper. Are we able to kind of get the momentum out of the final corner? Unfortunately, we're not. And we finish just a tenth and a half behind fourth place, but a really dramatic end to that race. After a poor start, being able to then claw those positions back, and in the end we finished where we started, but we very, very nearly made it up into fourth place. Hugely enjoyable driving these World Touring cars around Zolder. It's a marriage made in heaven, really, the car and the track. So there we have it. There's the end race result, finishing in fifth. Very, very enjoyable, some good overtaking manoeuvres. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Race Room content in the coming weeks. I'll see you next time.